Hi, welcome to This Expat Life. My name is Amanda Maxime, and as a certified coach, I help high-achieving expats find more fulfillment and happiness in their global lives. Because while life abroad is often amazing, it is not only rainbows and butterflies, as all experienced expats know. In This Expat Life, I open up space for all facets of life abroad and what you can do to thrive in it. And to support you in your personal, professional, and geographic life transitions, I share tips, tell relatable stories, and connect with fellow expats. Whether you've just moved abroad or you are a seasoned expat, This Expat Life is your place to find real understanding and to grow from the inside out. Enjoy the show. Why should you hire a coach as an expat? That's what we're going to be talking about today in this episode of This Expat Life. And welcome back, by the way. So, many of you have been long-term listeners of the show. You like what I share here. You like my content perhaps elsewhere as well. My message is resonating with you. You're getting useful tips. But I know there are also quite a few of you who are wondering, why should I hire an expat coach? Because my expat life or my life abroad here is pretty okay. I don't have any issues with the expat part. And that's what I want to be speaking about today, because I think every expat should hire a coach. So the reason why is actually really simple. Because when you move abroad, life abroad amplifies the already wobbly parts within you. It brings to the surface what's already going on in the undertow. And this is a bit, vague still, so let me make that clear with some examples. For example, if you are a perfectionist, maybe you don't say that about yourself, but you do have high standards and it always takes you a long time to finish things because you strive for completion and perfection, it's gonna be hard for you to keep feeding your perfectionism when you have to start all over from scratch again in a new country with a new language, with different office politics and so on. Because that perfection level that you were striving towards back home, you can't reach that right away when you move abroad. And maybe it will take you months or years to even get there. Perhaps you are someone who is a serial people pleaser. I know many of you are, because I speak to many of my listeners and many have this element in them. If you are a serial people pleaser, you're gonna lose your sense of self by trying to fit in both in the home country and the host country. There's no way you can please everyone there. If you are someone who has been relying a lot on assumptions in your relationship, and I'm always really surprised actually when I hear people say things about their partner that they assume that their partner wants this or wouldn't want this. They never actually talk about it. If you are someone who's relying a lot on your assumptions, then the decision to stay or go can actually break your marriage. Perhaps you're someone who is always really focused on the annual bonus and the next promotion, and you want to retire by 50. I also know a few of you who want this. Then, you love the status and prestige, but you realize you actually got nothing to show for it when you spend another Sunday evening alone and you're thinking about the week ahead of you and you just wish for a partner to sit by your side. Perhaps you are someone, and this is not something that you might very consciously know of yourself, but you're someone who is tending to run away from your emotions, like negative feelings, you prefer not to feel them. Well, moving abroad can make you question where your home is on a deeper level, because if you're always running away from yourself and then you're also moving physically, then where is actually home? I can go on, I will. If you, for example, never learn to sit with boredom and stillness, then the novelty of a new country will wear off, and what is left is you alone with yourself, and probably sooner than you expected. And I was so guilty of this in the past, where every year and a half, 2 years, when not so many, I was bored or I didn't feel very fantastic, and I would be like, I need to change everything again because I need to feel alive. And I thought it was about the country, but it was really actually about me. If you're someone who struggles for help, you will isolate in a place where you have no default support system for you. No parents close by, no old friends who you just know that, you can be yourself with, that you can really ask for support if you need to. If you really struggle to ask for help and you only do that with your very close-knit group back home, you're going to isolate yourself in the new country. If you aren't comfortable with not being the expert because you feel like you need to know everything and you need to have knowledge and you need to be sure of what you're saying and doing, well, expat life will make you a beginner again and again with the language, with the system, with the unwritten rules, with the office politics. And if competence is where your confidence lives, this will rattle you. If you have difficulty setting boundaries with your family back home, when you were already living back there, distance doesn't solve this dynamic. Quite the opposite, I would say. It just removes your ability to manage it in person, and the guilt will fill the gap. The expat guilt, we all know this. So there are so many small ways in which you come up as well. And this is always why I say I'm not an expat coach, I'm a coach for expats. I don't help you with the expat part. I don't help you make friends. I don't help you settle in. I don't help you with the logistical part of the move. I mean, I could not be more bored, if I'm honest, by that. I don't help you with any of that. But what I do help you with is yourself within that expat context. Because I am also experienced in expat life, and I do know that while maybe you don't struggle with the superficial expat parts of it, expat life, living abroad, immigrating, does add an extra layer of complexity to your life. So family dynamics, relationships, your patterns at work, work-life balance, your relationship with yourself, there's a lot of extra pressure and complexity added to those things. And so whereas your peers back home, or maybe you back home before you moved abroad, were able to deal with the patterns, like your patterns were buffered back home. And moving abroad kind of strips that away, and you are left with yourself. And this is why expat life really amplifies what is already there. All those little things that I just told you, the perfectionism, the no boundaries with families, the always striving for prestige over your relationship, not being able to sit with yourself, these are all things that you already carried within yourself, but at home they were kind of buffered and you had found your way around these things, like your patterns worked for you. Then when you move to another country and you have to start all over from scratch again, and there's like a different context that your patterns now start to live in, this is when it comes to the surface. And this is also the moment that I help you. And most of you, I would say all of you actually, you're high functioning, like you are performing well, even if a lot of shit is going on. You've got your life in order also abroad. And you are smart, you are self-aware, you're super capable. And you're also very good at managing these patterns successfully for years. Back home, as I said, because you created those buffers around them and you managed them successfully. And probably as you move abroad, yes, they will be amplified, but you're still able to manage them pretty successfully. And you can keep going even when your wheels are slowly getting stuck. You're so good at keeping going. And the thing is that most people tend to wait for a breaking point until they finally realize, okay, I need to do something with this. There is a marriage crisis, a burnout. I've had a lot of clients coming after a burnout. Perhaps it's like a full identity collapse abroad. There might be, like I'm coaching a lot of people right now inside the Copilot who already had a sabbatical for a couple months and hoping that that would solve their crossroads and should I stay, should I go question. And then they're hiring me. And so quite a few of you are waiting for a breaking point so that it becomes big enough for you to finally do something about it. Because up until that breaking point, you are pretty good at managing it successfully because you are that high functioning person, even in this complex layer of expat life. Now, the breaking point is the part where some of you reach out and some of you don't. Because for a lot of people, they also think, well, my marriage is in bad weather. I'm nearing a burnout. I am not happy here. Let me change my external context. And this is what I used to do as well. So many of you, they start to apply for new jobs. You think about going to a new country. You might even think about going home because you feel like, for example, maybe you are single in a big city that is really focused on success and you're loving your job and you have an amazing social life and you have your fitness routine and everything. The one thing you're lacking is a relationship. And you've realized, well, I can't find it here. And I see all my friends and family back home being settled and having kids. So maybe I should move back home as well. And so then the external fix is like, okay, let me move home because that is easier. But the key, of course, is that the answer is within you, not in your external context per se. Yes, you might need to change that, but you always want to do that from the inside out. Because if you keep thinking, well, a change in my location, career, relationship, whatever else is going to fix what I'm feeling, you are never going to feel good anywhere because it's an endless loop you're going to be in. The move won't fix it, whether it's a move to a new country or back home. You will have to go inside to really fix it from the inside out in a sustainable way. And so this is what I do as a coach for expats as well. I do not help you necessarily with the expat things. Of course, I give my tips here and there. I recently, in one of her sessions, I made space for how can you actually set up a strong social network when you are moving to a new country for just 6 months. Of course, I do also give my tips there. But the real work that I do with you is that inside-out approach, where we're really going to understand what are the patterns that got you here and that are now being amplified by living abroad when the buffers are being stripped away. And what can you change to get to where you want to go? And with where you want to go, I mean to how you want to feel. What is the kind of life that you want to be living? And how do you want to feel inside of it? What are the things that are important to you? What do you stand for? And how can we create a life that matches what you are looking for? That is the work that I do. So therefore, I'm not an expat coach. I'm a coach for expats. I help you with your own patterns that are being amplified when you move abroad with an inside-out approach. And so that you really get to live your life in a way that works for you and also in a way that you can repeat again and again without my help. Because if there's one thing that I'm striving for, it's for sustainable results, not a quick fix, not something that you have to keep on hiring me, but we do the inner work, the inner digging, make some bold moves and changes, and create that self-trust and self-awareness that you will keep with you for the rest of your life. Now, if you are interested in that and you think like, okay, Amanda, now I get what you do. I don't need help with the expat parts, but I do need help with finding a relationship. I do need help with having a better work-life balance because I have no boundaries at work and I always need a 3-week holiday after every 3 months of work because otherwise I'm going to crash. Or maybe you need help with some family dynamics, or maybe it's like a broader sense of your identity that is touching upon different areas of your life that you're like, I moved abroad, but I kind of lost myself. This is where I come in. And I say the words, I need help. I'm putting them in your mouth, so to say. It's a Dutch saying, I think. Maybe you don't say that because you're probably someone who doesn't ask for help easily. So how would it feel if there is guidance and support available to you if you want to? Not because you need it, because I know you're so good at keeping going and managing everything, but just because getting some support will get to where you want to go much faster without those drastic moves and blowing up your life. Because like I said, a move alone won't fix it. If this sounds like the kind of work that you want to do, get in contact with me. I have 2 coaching spots opening up in September. This is for my one-to-one coaching journey. I am reducing the spots available. I've already done that last year, but I'm doing that more and more because I'm focusing more and more on my group programs and courses. And so if you want to get that really fully personalized support with a lot of touch points along the way, and we go real deep into who you are, then don't wait any longer and go to my website, fill out the intake form. I'll put the link in the show notes. And if I feel like, okay, the one-on-one coaching journey is for you, I will send you an email back with a link to schedule your call. And if I think, well, maybe you don't need a one-to-one coaching journey because there are other programs available to you with a shorter span, more affordable investment, I will also let you know, and we might still have a call to discuss that. So I'll put the link in the show notes. And again, if you have been thinking about, this is maybe something I would need at some point, don't wait any longer, not just because I'm reducing the spots, but also because we tend to postpone getting to work because we feel like we need to have a perfect timing for it. Oh, when I have more headspace, then I'll do the coaching because then it's going to have more effect. I would argue the opposite is true, because when you are under a lot of pressure, your autopilot mode switches on. And this is your usual patterns that we want to tackle, right? And so if you can make changes to that autopilot while all that pressure is going on, this will have the biggest effect and the most ripple effects as well for your work-life balance, for your relationships, for your peace of mind, for your health, for your wealth. So don't wait any longer. If this has been calling you, get into action. I'll see you for the next episode. Have a great day wherever you are. Bye-bye.